Hi, I'm Angela Winkler, and this is my cancer story. When I was 32, I was nursing my son, who was about 18 months old at the time. We were just finishing up breastfeeding. He's my second child, and I did notice a lump in my left breast, and I just chopped it up to a clogged milk duct, which, the area and everything. Wasn't too concerned with it. Fast forward, months later, it's still there and it's a little bit bigger, getting a little bit sore. So I was done nursing, and so I talked to a doctor that I work with and said, "Hey, I've got this lump. I think it's turning into a cyst or something. I might have to have it removed or something. It's kind of sore." And they were like, "Okay, we'll give it another month with your cycle and check it again, and we'll go from there." And I was like, "Okay." So gave it another month. Didn't change, still about the same. Kind of sore, kind of tender, and decent sized. Um, so I went back to the doctor that I work with, and I said, "Hey, this is still here. I had my cycle, and it didn't really change anything. Didn't go away. Not any smaller." She said, "Okay." She said, "Well, let's get you in for a mammogram." I was 32, so I'd never had a mammogram. Um, and an ultrasound. And I said, "Okay." Well, I wanted to do it where I work because it's cheaper with insurance and things. And so I waited another month to get in for my ultrasound and my mammogram. So I had that done in Knoxville. My husband and kids went with me to the appointment because we were going to just make a day of it. We were going to go eat and stuff while we were in Knoxville, which we did. And I was laying there for my ultrasound, and the tech was super nice, and she was pregnant with her first child, and I can't remember her name, but she was having a little boy. She was very sweet. She got up and left the room after my ultrasound. Before she left, she said, "The radiologist may come in and talk to you, or he might not. I don't know." I said, "Okay, that's fine." So she was out of the room maybe a minute, and the radiologist came in, and he was very nice. He said, "Hey, Miss Winkler, da da da," he got the wand and started showing me on my breast and showing me the ultrasound. And he said, "This spot right here looks like cancer." He said, "This spot over here looks like cancer." And he said, "This spot down here looks like cancer." So I had three different spots. And I'm just kind of laying there, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." I had not even really considered that. Um, it just didn't even cross my mind. So he was like, he said, "I'm 99% sure that it's breast cancer." He said, "We need to do your mammogram, and then we need to get you in for a biopsy." This was on a Friday. I said, "Okay." So did my mammogram. The tech was like, "I think everything looks okay." The mammogram tech, different person. I said, "Okay." So then I was leaving, and went out to the parking lot and saw my husband and my kids. They'd been out there waiting on me. And I told my husband, he was standing outside the vehicle, and I said, "They think the doctor thinks I have breast cancer." I said, "But I don't know if I do or not. I said, sometimes things look like cancer and they're not, it can happen." But I don't know. In the back of my mind, I knew that I knew that it was cancer. Three different areas aren't going to just look like it. So anyway, so then they called me on my cell phone. I'm still in the parking lot. They said, "Hey, we've got you down for Monday for a biopsy." So I said, "Okay." So took off work Monday, went for my biopsy in Knoxville at Abercrombie, um, and then went back to work. That's my first biopsy. Went back to work. So the doctor that I was working for at the time is who ordered my testing. So that was Monday. So Wednesday, I get a phone call. They page us overhead, urgent finding about a biopsy. So I answer the phone, and they said, "Yeah, we need to speak to the doctor about Angela Winkler." And I said, "Oh, okay." So I handed the phone to my doc and said, "Hey, they're going to tell you I've got cancer." So she said, "Okay." So she took the call in her office, and then she called me in, and that's kind of what started the ball rolling. So then, we had to biopsy the other two areas. Had to have a CT scan and um, let's see, CT of the chest, abdomen, pelvis, and then we had to do breast MRI and then we started all the treatment and everything. So had a so let's see, I was 32. That was June. So July, the day before my 33rd birthday, I had a double mastectomy. Um, and then I started chemo about a month later. Did that for 6 months. Then I had a complete hysterectomy because it was ER positive, estrogen positive, so needed to get rid of my ovaries. Then I did radiation for 36 cycles. Um, and here I am. I took the pills for 4 years and that's it.
That's it. Wow. So at 32 years old, now how many children did you have at
Two.
that time? Two. Okay.
Yeah, Hudson. So I had my ultrasound on June the 2nd. Or no, let's see. It was the first part of June. I know the date. I just can't think of it at the moment. But it was his birthday was June the 2nd. I had my ultrasound June the 6th. And so he was 2. He just turned 2 when I had my ultrasound and my daughter was 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were little. That's a lot to
They
go
were little.
through with little tykes around the house, babies around the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I guess so you went through, you did all the other treatments and stuff, and you've
Yeah.
continued to be okay since all
Yes.
this. Everything's
Hmm.
good. Okay.
Yes. Hmm.
So I recall a few years ago, we did photographs downtown for cancer awareness, and you were there. And was that right around the time you had just gone through the process at that time? Was that?
That was so my hair was coming back in and stuff then. I remember
Yes.
that. And let me think. That would have been I think I would have been done with radiation maybe, or that might have been
Mhm.
around like right after I finished radiation.
Okay.
Yeah, but it
Okay.
was after chemo and after the hysterectomy and stuff. So
How is there anything about how that process was for you that you would like to share as far as going through it? I know it's a trying time and it's probably emotional, but is there
yeah.
something that you would want to share that you would want others to know about?
Um I guess so I'm a nurse. And I trusted my doctors a lot, which is great, and I love my doctors. But I do wish that I would have researched different options as far as not necessarily treatments, but the reconstruction process. That was really the reconstruction process was a lot. It was a challenge, and the first reconstruction kind of it didn't exact well. I guess you could say it failed, and I had to do it again.
Mhm.
And so that I had so many surgeries in that span of time that it was just a lot. But I feel like if I had known on the front end all the different options for reconstruction, I might have done that a little bit differently or waited until later on to do it or something.
Mhm.
I don't know, but I wish I would have done more research at that point in time as far as my different options.
And what was the time frame from the time that you had the double mastectomy to the reconstruction surgery?
So they put expanders in whenever I had the
Yeah.
double mastectomy. So I had the expanders in, and I had those in all through chemo, and then they started filling them up during radiation, which wasn't great.
Mhm.
So then they put some in. I'd have to go back. I'd have to take to hit my heart, and so we'd have to adjust. So it was trying. And then after I finished radiation, then I switched over to the implants after a few
Mhm.
months.
Mhm.
And one just contracted really bad and shrunk up.
Oh,
the
goodness.
radiated side, of course.
Okay.
Um, so we just, I ended up seeing another plastic surgeon later,
Hmm.
and he took those out, and he did the deep flap where they take muscle from your back and pull around to the front to make pockets and then put
Okay.
implants in those. So, but I had to go through the expander process again.
Oh,
Took a while and then have another surgery again. And yeah, so not fun.
not fun.
No.
And in that time period, I'm going to ask you a question about this because um, husbands are involved in that process too. They
Yes.
go through it with you. Your children go through it with you. How was your husband and what was that like for him, if you don't mind sharing?
During yeah, during that time my husband was great. He worked night shift, and so he would stay up and he would go to appointments with me for different biopsies and things. Him and the kids took me to chemo on Fridays, and he would take them to the park. He would drop me off at chemo, take them to the park and do stuff with them, take care of them all day till I could get home. Um, he really he was really great during the whole process.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful that worked out. He was able to made it, well, I guess maybe kind of an adventure for the kids. They probably looked forward to the park on Friday.
They
Do you
still they still call it the chemo park.
the chemo part?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So tell me, so now how many years of survival? Let's see,
I am 42 now.
you're 42, so we got 10 years.
Yep.
10 years of survivor. Okay, well, that's wonderful. So tell me what has gone on in your years of survivorship, because I know that you did a few things when you were all healed up after we did the photographs and stuff
Yep.
downtown. I know I saw you posting stuff on the internet about different activities and things you had done. You want to talk about
Yep.
that?
Well, I went back to school.
Hmm.
So I got my master's degree. So I'm a nurse practitioner now.
Oh, wonderful.
So I did do that because I thought, well, what do I got to lose?
Yeah.
And then, so my children are now 13 and 11. Um, I've just enjoyed every moment that I have with them.
Yes.
Every moment that I have with my family. Something about having had cancer and not being sure about the outcome at all the time, it really makes you put things into perspective.
Mhm.
And it really just makes you appreciate your time here a little more, because we're not promised tomorrow. And some people don't make it through cancer treatment.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's found too late. And, we don't know God's plans, and we just have to kind of go along for the ride sometimes. But I've just learned to enjoy things more.
Right.
Yeah. To be in more pictures, whether I'm bald or have makeup on or look a hot mess, like just to try to not worry about that part of it as much and
Mhm.
just be present.
Right. Well, I think that's really hugely important. And I think that we should all take that because not one of us is guaranteed our next breath.
Right.
So, whether it's cancer or just, we just don't
We
know.
don't. Yeah, we don't know.
And yeah, and it's sad that it takes something like that sometimes for us all to get that into perspective.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's absolutely wonderful. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Did you run a race? Were you doing some 5Ks at one time?
I do some 5Ks sometimes. I don't run though.
Okay.
I'm not a runner. I'm more of
Okay.
a speed walker.
A speed walker. Well, that's right up my alley.
Yeah.
So,
I like a couple of girl trips with some friends, and uh enjoy times, like that too, and
yeah,
trying to live life.
there you go.
Yep.
Is there anything else you would like to share about this or anything you'd like to say to women in general as far as their health and being aware?
I think just to be proactive, you know. I feel like we know our bodies more than anybody else does. We're in them 24/7. If you feel like something's off, get it checked out, just be aware of what your body's telling you, you know. And then also just to trust in the Lord, because I mean it's all going to work out how He wants it to, and so you just kind of got to let Him drive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I can take the wheel. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you so very much. And your story will be out in October. We have several people lined up. If you know of anyone else that you think would like to share their story, if you're aware of anyone, they don't have to be local, they can be from anywhere.
Okay,
So if you think of anyone else that you would might want to share it, just let me know. Just
I sure will.
send them my information. So, but thank you so very much, and we appreciate you. And I'm so glad to see your smiling face because you have a radiating smile. So,
Thank you very much.
all right.
The first thing that I did with Dawn and your all's group that y'all have kind of got together,
Uh-huh.
I've got a picture. It's on my desk at work, and it's me and my kids when they were small, and I'm bald, and I'm holding one of my kids, and he's holding the other one, and I've got our t-shirts on that we had made that my work
Yes.
had made.
Uh-huh.
One of my favorite pictures of all times.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's wonderful. I go through and I've got Dawn and I have done a lot of stuff over the years. She's a 22-year survivor.
Mhm.
So we've done a lot of things over the years. And it's like it's it's not an end all. You know what I mean? It kind of like it's like you said for you, it gave you a new perspective on life. And so it was like you probably came out of the gates wide open, just
Yeah, and when you first hear, "Oh gosh, I have cancer," your first thought is about your mortality, It's about, "Oh gosh, am I going to be here tomorrow?" Um but it's not a death sentence, Um some of us are meant to get through it, and we just follow God's plan and just leave it in His hands.
yeah.
But I mean, it's still scary. And then, survivor's guilt is a real thing too, because you always are like, well, why did so and so not make it, and then I did make it, and that always hurts your heart, because you think, well, they're a good person. Why did they make it, and or they not make it, and I made it, but we're not supposed to look at it that way. We're supposed to look at it like we're here for a reason. God wants us to be here. He wants us to share our story or raise our children or be there to take care of our parents or just anything, and we just have to leave it all in His hands.
Amen. Amen. That's true. It's true. Well, thank you so very much, Angela. I appreciate this so
You're
much.
welcome. It was good to see you.
You too, and you take care.
You too. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye.